Welcome to Something Like That. My name is Nav. How you doing? How you feeling? The standard introduction. I hope you had a wonderful month ahead. A couple of months more to go before we say goodbye to 2022. And the good part about this particular podcast is every single show that our guests that I bring in on the podcast, they bring in something really special to the show. But from time to time, some of these bands are mind blowing. They'll blow your socks off. They're super awesome. And I'm lucky enough to have my guest for this particular episode. I've been wanting to chat with him for a very long time, but I was just waiting for the right time and moment to bring him on board. He is from a super group called Nadir. It's not just a band, it's a super group, literally a super group. We'll talk about that in a bit from now. And before I bring him in, don't forget to subscribe, hit the subscribe button, like, do whatever you have to do, the usual shit. If I don't say that, means then, they say, why you never say that? But fuck it. But anyway, let's get on to the show right now. Let me bring you the main man himself, Ashwin Gobinath from Nadir. Hey, Ashwin.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good,
Thanks
man. I'm
for
good.
having me here.
It's a pleasure. I've been wanting to do this for a very long time. So it's okay if I call you Ash, right? Is that what they call you?
Yeah. That's what everybody calls me.
Yeah, good, man. You are from the super group, man, Nadir, and it's not only the band. Before I even get into the band, you're a man who wears many hats.
Yeah.
You are musician,
So-
you're a producer, you this, you that. So I'm going to just break it down right now. Just find out who exactly you are or what is it that you do. I just got to know because you seem to be everywhere, man.
Well, I think it started from a very early age, thanks to, of course, my parents and my mom being a multi sort of talented person, and she was, growing up, she was a teacher, she was an insurance agent, and she was in theater, and she was doing a lot of different things back in Penang,
Wow.
and she worked for the government at one point, and a lot of different other things. Then my dad designed speakers, and his music collection was huge. And I grew up listening to, when I was really young, I think maybe 6 or 7, I was already listening to Led Zepp, Grand Funk Railroad,
Whoa.
world music, Al Jarreau, jazz, blues, the whole shebang. And I was exposed to all of that from a very early age. And especially, the audiophiles here will love this. It was on LPs. It was on records. My dad used to listen to records.
Wow.
And then of course he progressed on to CDs. And my dad played drums a little bit also.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in school, I picked up the drums and self-taught, and then I joined the school band, the school marching band, of course. And then I was exposed to a whole different world of music there, with classical music and concert jazz kind of stuff. And then I realized that I want to do this for a living, not necessarily music, but because at the time when I was 16 or 15, I started playing underground gigs with
Okay. That's very young.
I had a metal band, underground metal band, and I started playing.
15.
Yeah,
I can imagine what kind of student you were in school, man.
I started off great. But
Good.
I started playing in Penang in like Actor Studio Green Hall and hanging out with the sound guys.
Okay.
And eventually I was talking to my dad and my mom, and then they were like, why don't you try doing this audio thing? And so next thing I know, I ended up in Australia. But before that, I was also in the Music and Drama Society in school.
Whoa. Is there
Yeah,
anything that you don't do?
God, bro, I don't do rocket science.
Oh man, it seems you've been doing almost everything that a guy could actually would take a lifetime to do. You pretty much did it before you even reached 21, man.
No, it was more like I just wanted to try everything, and
Okay.
whatever that I felt like doing, I just wanted to do. It was never like I want to be amazing at this. It was always I want to try everything. But then
Okay.
focus came when I went to SAE in Byron Bay in Australia. And
you were
then,
a student.
yeah, this was in
That
2004.
That explains a lot, man. That explains a lot.
Yeah, so I went over to Australia, and then the typical story. You go there when you're 17, and then your mind grows, it evolves, you change, you find yourself as a person, and the experiences that I had over there, and being exposed to, especially all my friends who were all in their mid 20s and above, you know.
Mhm.
So at that young age, I was already very like exposed to the real world in that
Okay.
sense, and also professionals who are working in the industries who were coming to do their degrees and diplomas. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay. Okay.
So it wasn't just like fresh faced students. There were some of my classmates. I had a 50-year-old classmate who had been working in the industry for like 30 years.
Okay.
And, you know, he used to work with bands like Silverchair, Pete Mayer, a lot of all these big guys in Australia.
Mhm.
So and just learning from there, the passion for audio engineering really like shot to the skies.
Nice, man.
And at that, and I think when I was 18, I was working on an SSLG console, which is like the cream of the crop kind of thing, and that was like my baby for a year plus, doing so many sessions on that, and that really sort of made me appreciate what I had over there. Because most people start off on a small interface, a small laptop, and then progress onwards up until they get to the console.
Yeah.
But me being Malaysian and being over there, it was the other way around. I started off learning on this big ass console, you know, and recording like 10-piece bands, and then coming back to Malaysia and then starting from zero, you know what I mean?
Oh man. That would have been
Yeah,
frustrating, isn't it?
a bit, but I think when I came back to Malaysia, I finished my degree and everything. I started working with Freddie Fernandez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I started working with him, and then from there I moved to Astro. I was in Astro for 3 years, and
Mm.
I was just learning, learning different things. You know, with Freddie, I learned commercials and advertising stuff, and then in Astro, of course, you learn radio production. And the the good thing about going and working in Astro, aside from, you know, like what people say, Astro is a really fucked up place to work in, but um, the good thing that I took away from that was the ability to work under pressure,
Okay.
uh, immense pressure. Like, I'll give you an
Well, it.
example. Sometimes you'll get a promo that
Mhm.
is going on air in 5 minutes, and the promo is non-existent yet. So you have to record the VO from the whoever announcer it is, record the VO, edit the VO, put it into 30 seconds, edit the music, put it in there, put some effects in there, pop, mix, put it on air in 5 minutes.
Whoa. Whoa. This sounds like my
Yeah.
clients when I do views, man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I need this, man. Can you just record this? No, no, quick one, quick one. Come on, we're gonna go. It's like, no, no, I'm gonna launch it at 8 o'clock. The event starts, so we need your voice right
Yeah.
now. It's like, what the hell?
I know,
But
right?
the good, yeah, but the good part is this: you're always on your toes, so which means at any
Yeah.
situation, whenever Murphy's law kicks in, you're
Yeah.
ready, you're prepared for it. So that's the good part about being working under those kind of pressures. Not many people get to do that because some people
Exactly.
just break down. It's like, no, I can't do it. That's about it.
Yeah.
But when you have these experiences, it's amazing. And the best part, you get to push your limits, you get to push your boundaries. Where when in the future jobs, so
Mhm.
the rest would seem like a breeze for you. That's a good side of it, lah.
Pretty much,
Because
lah. I mean, sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
you see, sorry, because the thing is, like you said, the experience that you have, the things that you do, it reflects a lot on your production. I've seen that because when I was listening to the songs, it's like, dude, this is not a guy who just makes music. He knows music. I mean, he knows sound.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Because like for me, I'll be very honest. I don't know much of the technicalities of music arrangements and so on. But the end listener, you hear the sound, how it makes you feel, and the quality of it is like, whoa, man, you really did some awesome jobs down there.
I mean, that's the whole point of music, right? You
Yeah,
want people to feel what you feel,
yeah.
and my approach to audio engineering is the same thing. I mix and master and record stuff according to how I feel. So I want to portray that feeling in the mix. Not so much
Uh,
the technicalities are, of course, they're important as your
mhm.
building blocks, but you know, at the end of the day, after you've done it for a long time and stuff, the technicalities don't matter anymore. Like
Yeah,
you stop worrying about whether my mic technique is correct, whether my whether I'm mixing correctly, whether I'm doing the right EQ, because a lot of times it's finding those little happy mistakes that create something new and something fresh. Like,
okay.
let's say, I give you an example, recording an acoustic guitar from behind the player,
Hmm.
rather than in front. Yeah, of course it's wrong because you're not going to capture the sound, but I'm sure there's one song out there, you will eventually run into one song out there where that sound for some reason just suits the song, you know?
True. Led
It's,
Zeppelin made
I
a
mean,
lot of Led
yeah,
Zeppelin did a lot of that. You know,
yeah,
the echo effects and so on.
hmm
It just
hmm
happened. It just happened, and then it becomes a
yeah.
big hit. A
That's the
lot of
thing.
that.
So my approach is to not limit myself in terms of
True.
following the rules. Yeah, of course you have to know the basics. You have to know your craft in order for you to break the rules, you know. So that's my approach. And I think similarly with Nadir, that was the main rule of joining the
Okay.
band, right? Of everybody that who I got into the band, it's like there the one rule, it's like Fight Club lah. There are no rules. You know,
Yeah.
you
Nice.
you you cannot limit yourself. So you have to put everything that you can put. Any ideas are welcome. Nothing is
Okay.
wrong. It's just a matter of if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know?
But
That's it.
you also make music for a lot of people out there. I mean, you do the sound, the engineering part of it.
Yeah.
Do your clients feel the same way? Especially I'm talking about musicians.
Yeah.
They share the same approach. It's like no, this of course you being an engineer, you're going to say this is how it's going to be done. This is
Mhm.
how we're going to work on it. But do the musicians do they share the same opinion, or do they have a different feel? Say no, I don't want it that way. I just want it to be in my own way. So does that happen for you often?
Very rarely.
Okay,
But when it does happen, I make sure that the artist of the band that I'm working with, they have their justification for it.
okay.
And if they do, then totally fair enough. It's their music. And if I'm producing it, if I'm producing the track, then yeah, we talk about it and we find common ground.
Okay.
But for me, in the past maybe 6 years, every project I take on, I will want to produce it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean
So
that's the
because it's your
natural.
reputation, it's a reputation also at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm putting my name on it, not just the
Yeah.
mix and the master. I want your performance to be great. I want to bring out the best in what you do, you know,
Hmm.
just based off of my experience playing music for so long and sessioning and playing different styles of music, listening to different styles of music and all the genres that are out there, you know.
Can imagine. Because why I'm asking you that, why did I ask you that was because I've had a chat there with a couple of sound engineers also who said
Okay.
that it's hard to advise some of these bands. It's like,
Mm.
they know the sound. The engineer knows the sound. He know what it takes to record the song and what comes in, what goes out. But at the end of the day, the band's being adamant on, no, this is how I want it. This is what I have in mind.
Mhm.
So when it comes out as a shitty quality, and then they blame the sound guy all the way.
Yeah.
That
So
has happened a lot.
I understand that, and the way I've counteracted that is by before taking on the project, I have
Hmm.
meetings with the artist, sit
Okay,
down, we go through a lot of my past work, and I explain to them the process of working with me. I explain to them the intricacies that are involved, and I explain and I show them how the evolution works. So sometimes I'll play them a demo of a project that I've finished. I'll play them the
okay.
demo and then I'll show them the final product and they'll see like how it evolved to that final product that they said was, fucking amazing and blah 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 blah. Then I'll tell them this is what I want to do with you guys, you know.
Oh,
And
okay.
from there, you build that trust with them. And then they are like more receptive to whatever you want to try. And in fact, most of the time, every time I give you a good example, Christian Palencia, I just
Yes.
produced three songs. I'm producing his line of work now, and the most recent song that came out, "Bundle of Joy." Um, he came in with the demo, and it was a very straightforward, very simple track, very nice track, but very simple. And I wanted to elevate it, right? And the cool thing about Christian is he's got a whole lot of ideas. and then we shoot ideas of each other a lot, you know.
Okay.
So, but my idea was, rather than elevating the band that's playing, that means the background music, we keep the background music straightforward and simple, and
Okay.
change the drums a bit into sort of a broken beat sort of feel, just to give it some dynamics and some uniqueness. And
Okay.
then we take the backing vocals and feature them prominently. Rather than using
Okay.
them as backing vocals, we use them as featured singers, right?
Okay. Like a
So
chorus kind of thing. Lah.
like a chorus, but very prominent, not just like a
Okay.
chorus effect, but very prominent. That means like it almost sounds like a lead vocals, but there's like layers upon layers. And in the
Ah.
end, we had two, Jesse Jesh and Amy Chun, great singers, and they were also featured on the track. And how we used them was in like a progressive sort of climatic way, and their vocals become sort of like effect pieces that feature prominently, and then
Okay.
the chorus, the layers of that those vocals, there are lots of harmonies happening, and lots of, not just harmonies of the main vocals, but different lines. Then they're not just singing the exact same thing, they're singing different things, they're doing oohs and ahs, they're doing vocal effects, rises, that kinds of stuff, those kinds of things. And by adding those, you really create a lot of interest and variety to the song.
Nice, man. It's seriously listening to you talk or mention about how this thing works. I just want to say, take my money, man. Just take my money. The kind of thing is like
Let's
it
do.
is fascinating, man. It is. I wish I knew how to sing, I knew how to make music and so on, man. Because it is that these are the things that are always I wouldn't want to say advice. I always suggest that all the bands that come on board, because knowing the industry for over 20 years, you see a lot of people come in and come that, but priority on the exact sound, the quality of the sound, which is not really focused on in most of the bands out there.
Yeah.
And see, your simple explanation this past even 5 minutes for a
Mm.
song, it's
Yeah.
like there's so much of details involved in that to make it the perfect sound, the perfect
Definitely.
sound. Because you're not only going to look at the local market, it's not just about the radio down here. You want to take
Yeah.
it to an international level to a certain extent. You want the
Yeah.
world to listen to the whole sound of it and to
Mhm.
feel appreciate the whole works, because it's not just about listeners, it's all about maybe some other talent or agencies, a lot of things are involved in that. So emphasizing on good quality makes a whole lot of difference. Because recently there's this one guy or other band guy kind of thingy. He's good. I'm not going to mention names. He
Yeah.
was awesome. He was stuff. I love his music. He was kind of unique. He was different from the rest of them. But sadly, when he produced the track, he recorded the song. I heard his previous albums, and then I heard the recent one because he changed the engineer or whatever. It just killed it, man.
Mm.
It just killed the entire song, the entire album, which kind of made him look and sound bad in the particular album. It was just a waste. The whole album was just a waste because it was not produced properly.
That's the
But-
thing, bro. I mean, like, in Malaysia, right? I'm for me, my personal opinion is that I'm just tired of people from everywhere else saying, Malaysians can't produce quality stuff. In fact, if you go outside and you go to the UK, you go to Australia and stuff, and you jam with musicians, right? You realize Malaysians actually, because we are a huge sort of um, fusion of different cultures, right? So we are actually exposed to so many types of music, and that becomes apparent in our playing and
Yeah.
our ability to, not just musicians, but our artists, everybody, singers, dancers, actors, everyone. We're very diverse in our choices,
Yeah.
in our styles. But the problem is that a lot of people here, the mentality is not up to par, so they have this mentality of, let's just say in music, right? For recording, you get a band that comes in, there's a lot of this mentality that, oh, my job is just recording, my job is just mixing,
Okay.
uh and the quality that you want to put into the product is dependent on your job title, which I think is ridiculous. I feel like no matter anywhere down the production line, everyone should be wanting the best out of that product. It doesn't matter if you're an intern. Like, I have interns, and sometimes when I'm working on a film or a TV series or whatever, and they come in and they listen, I ask for their ideas. I ask them what they think because every opinion matters.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because even an uneducated opinion is still valid because that's coming from a different point of view. It's not coming
And
from an educated point of view. It's coming from a different point of view.
it's not
And
the technical, the end user kind of view.
yeah, so it's important to take all these things into account. So the same applies to a lot of see the difference I feel like in the US, in the UK, in Australia, in all the Western countries and blah blah, even Thailand also, is that the people who work, a producer who works on a job, they take their work very, very seriously, very passionately, so that if they're working on something and they're going to put their name on it, it has to reflect the very best of what they can do, the very best of their
Mhm.
capabilities. And a lot of people here are complacent, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are a lot of producers and engineers here who have that mindset, who are amazing and are great at what they do. And the the collective of sorts, the
Okay.
people like Roseanne, people like JD, all these guys, they have that right mentality, and that's why what they do is always good.
Ah, cool.
You see what I mean?
Yeah,
So
because they say, like, see, it's also even the mentality is one thing of it, and of course at the very same time price tag, that plays a role in that all too, right?
yeah, definitely. I mean, but at the same time, I I used to be of the opinion that if you don't have a budget, then I'll just work with that budget and just do a simple job lah.
Hmm.
This was when I was very young, when I was in my early 20s. And then after a short while, I realized that you that is the reason why our industry keeps struggling and suffering. No
Because you're not
one, no one wants,
preparing yourself for it.
yeah, and no one wants to take a chance anymore. Like whenever I get people with a low budget, what I tell them is, let's work out a way we can make this work with that
Okay.
budget. And what I do is, like, let's say they only have a budget of, let's say, 3K to do like 4 songs, for example.
Okay.
That's absolutely shit, right? And if you were to approach someone who is a bit full of themselves, they look at you and tell you to fuck off lah. But
True story.
mm, but the thing is, there are 2 points to this. One is, you will always find someone who will record, mix, and master and do your single or whatever for you for 250 ringgit, and yes, that spoils the market, definitely. And the product that comes out is not going to be up to par. It's not going to be great. It's just going to be a there. But
Okay.
then with these guys that I produce and with these people that I want to help, what I'm doing is, they come in, they give me their budget. And if the budget I feel is too low, what I do is I tell them, we work out an installment deal, so
Fair
that
enough. Fair enough.
there's no interest, nothing. But I'll charge you a decent price that works for both you and for me without killing the market, without
That's
spoiling the
fair.
market,
That's
right?
very
And
fair.
yeah, and you give them the chance, and they're not going to stress out about it. They're not going to be struggling, as it is with musicians. We are struggling musicians in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's sad, but it
yeah,
happens, man.
and the thing is, you're investing in them, because
Mhm.
what's going to happen is, they're going to come, they're going to record with you. I give them the greatest of times, and they always learn, because I'm always teaching people. I'm always teaching whatever I can teach. I may not be the
Okay.
best at what I do, but I know my value, I know my worth, and I know what I can offer these people. So anyone who comes to record or work with me, they're going to come out of it with a lot more knowledge than they came in.
That's something that a lot of people need, because it's not just about I make music, I just sing,
Yeah.
I just perform, but
Mhm.
you want to know the what happens behind the scenes of coming up with a good
Yeah.
product. That's
Exactly.
very important. And the way you mentioned, like, you don't compromise on the quality just because of the quantity of dollars and cents. So
Exactly.
that should be a priority for any band, for that matter. And
What's
I've also
gonna
advised a
happen?
lot of guys, because you need to save up a little bit if you want to produce a track.
Mm,
Get ready to make that money. Save that
yeah,
money up before you come up with it. So it's either you focus on the music or you focus on the
yeah,
music video
Yeah.
either or, but the sound is important. So you got to
But
pay
you see,
attention more to that.
what's going to happen also is now I've done them this favor, right? They know the worth. They know that it's worth this much and it's this good quality. The next time they come back to me, they're going to come back prepared, not just from a musical standpoint, financially too, you know?
Yeah.
And
You know
then
what
they
you paid for,
know,
you're paying
yeah,
for.
they know what they're paying for already. And then then we can work very well, you know what I mean? But that initial point, I always want to help these people who come because otherwise, they're gonna go to these people who are charging 100, 200 ringgit and get shit quality, and they're just gonna assume that that's all they're worth. You know,
Yeah.
the difference
That's
between a great band and a good band is production.
very true. I agree with you 300% on that part. But
Mm.
there's also this thing that, as of lately, thanks to the pandemic and all, I appreciate bands churning out more music. The thing is being consistent of coming out with more music back to back and so on. And of
Yeah.
course, the affordability, not everybody can. So
Mhm.
there is a growing trend, or rather, it has been growing for a while now, which is the bedroom producers.
Hmm.
A lot of bedroom producers are out there. So you
Yeah.
just come in and make music and just release it. Make music, release it with whatever limited knowledge that I have. Because the
Mhm.
thing is, the idea is, I just want to make music. I don't want
Yeah.
to have a long gap. So what's your take on that one?
So I feel like there are the term producer. A lot of people have sort of mangled the term, and they don't
Hmm.
understand what the term producer is. From a very surface level, I personally think it's great that there are more people making music from home.
Hmm.
Because the reality is not everyone can afford to come to a studio and work in a
True.
studio and spend those many, many hours working with a producer or working with an engineer. And, and most studios charge by the hour,
True.
and looking at an average of 150 to 250 ringgit an hour, which, in today's economy, it's quite bad shape, lah, right?
Yeah.
Even though that is the price that we should be charging because that is how much our time is worth, right?
True.
Yeah, but the term producer, I feel like people are just misusing it. Like for me, I only realistically call myself a producer because what I do with artists is not just record, mix, and master, but I come in, I listen to their music, I go to their shows, watch them play live. I understand their philosophy behind their music, I understand the mentality of it. And then when they come in, we work on demos a lot. We build up the idea of the song. I don't want you to take your live set and just put that down on tape.
Okay.
No, that's not the idea of coming up with a song, of producing a song. You get a producer in to work to take that idea that you have of this song and really flourish it. So that's what I
Okay.
do with bands, with artists, whoever who comes in. Even if you're coming just to record vocals, I will make sure that that vocal recording represents the soul of the song, the soul of the artist. Every emotion that you're trying to convey, you have to put that in, right? And that's what a real producer is. So, like, if you take Rick Rubin for example, and what he
Mm.
does, what he did with Chili Peppers, right? Very similar. He took a bunch of guys who were just having fun on stage, right, and disciplined the shit out of them and produced one of the best albums of the 20th century. So
Exactly.
yeah, and that's how I view it. And of course there are producers who like produce beats. I think they should be called beat makers,
That's
right?
the word. That's the term
Yeah.
that should be called.
Yeah.
Because, like what you said, I've always got myself. I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of assuming what's a producer is. Like, I just
Hmm.
produce a track. Okay, I'm a producer.
Uh,
It's like a
yeah.
musician or other beat maker. That's a different thing than releasing a whole track altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's had happened a lot. But
Mm.
what do you say to these guys who's been consistently just are getting too comfortable with being that bedroom producers? They said, "Hey, my music
Mm.
still runs, but it's like I can
Mm.
just continue making music like that, and I can still just keep on making tracks after tracks after tracks without having the need for walking into a studio and getting it done properly."
Yeah.
So, what do you feel on that one?
I think the only thing I have to say to that is as l- as long as you're not being complacent and just resting on your laurels lah. You know, a lot of people
Okay.
are very happy doing the same thing year after year after year, right? But I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that philosophy. I think the way you progress as a human being, mentally, spiritually, physically, anything, is to constantly evolve. And evolution doesn't mean change,
Hmm.
necessarily. Evolution means exploring new ideas, exploring new concepts, trying out new things. And if you are a bedroom producer who just makes hip hop beats and you're using the same 808s all the time and you're doing that for 4 or 5 years,
That's
you're just a machine. You're not creative person anymore,
easily
So
forgotten.
you can say that, yeah, sure, but I feel personally, if you want to say like you're a producer and all that, you've got to constantly be evolving. You've got to constantly be wanting to, level up your craft. And like the studio is basically your endpoint in terms of production. And you want to level up, you need to be constantly coming out with new ideas and also learning the craft of the studio work. And
Okay.
yeah, so for me,
Understanding it
even till
better.
today, like even though I've been doing this for a long time, every day I'm learning new things. I still watch YouTube videos on your basic stuff, basic audio theories, different ways of compressing. Even though I know exactly what they're doing, I just watch it to reinforce all my ideas, all my theories. And then when you watch how people work and you watch even the simplest of things like doing an EQ,
Yeah.
and you can always learn something. And even with my interns, for example, like I get them to work on composition pieces for film and TV. And then when I review their work, I always ask them to explain why they do what they do. And
Okay.
if you
Okay.
can explain from top to bottom why you do what you do, then your thought process is there, and creatively you're stimulating that, right? But if fair enough, if it's just a hantam thing, you're just like, oh, just because it sounds nice. We do that a lot
Yeah.
with Nadir.
Yeah.
But in terms of improving and growing as let's say a bedroom producer or a person who's starting out, right? The only way to get better is to be constantly trying to one up yourself
True.
rather
Very
than
true.
just being happy with where you are, which is very easy to do because the moment two or three people tell you that, bro, your mix is great, oh, this is nice,
You're comfortable.
you're like,
That's it.
you think like, okay, lah, I'm done already. I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like,
I had that feeling, man, because
yeah,
I like for me, apart from doing this, I also do voiceovers, MC, public speaking training, and so on.
yeah,
So you have to get the third party view, or you have to watch others.
mm,
Not to say that you want to copy them or anything, but this way you learn what to do and
yeah,
what not to do.
yeah.
It's like you can pick up the good things, and it's like okay, infuse some of your ideas and create something new altogether instead of just
Put it
like
this
okay
way, lah,
lah, I'm
bro.
done lah.
We've been humbled too many times, lah. Like
Yeah, so
me in
you gotta
my
evolve,
career,
man.
yeah, I've been
Yeah,
humbled too many times because I got to a point where I was complacent, rested on my laurels, and then I think there's a key moment for me was when my band we were going to put out the album art for one of our songs back in the day, and I I I also draw. I love doing art and stuff like that, and I had done up a mock-up of this design, and I had showed it to the group, to our WhatsApp group, the band group, and I thought it was fucking amazing. I thought it was great. I thought like, oh yeah, this represents us perfectly. You know what I mean? Had this mandala design and everything. Nice font with the words and everything. And then I sent it to the group, and they all hated it. and 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 that to me was a very pivotal moment because that was the first time I didn't take offense to it, or not really
okay,
take offense, but just felt
shock lah.
something a bit. I didn't feel. I was just like, oh, okay, cool, no worries. Let's move on. Let's try something new. So immediately I tried working on something new, and what that did to me mentally, it just changed you immediately. You don't realize it. Only in hindsight you realize that, wow, from that point, which was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, that was the point when I went, all right, every time I don't do something well, try again lah. Keep trying until
Yeah,
it
because
works.
you learn something new every time you try again.
Mhm.
It's like it's not that you stick to one thing. It's like if everything is perfect in whatever you do, then you'll never evolve. You never come up with new ideas, new
Yeah,
concept, new creativity and stuff. It's like
exactly.
that's I mean literally that's happening for every single thing that's going around.
Mm,
But I'm also curious. Okay, apart from the sound engineering thing and so on,
yeah.
and Nadir, was there a band in between those things?
Oh, there were
Because
plenty.
was it like just after the sound engineering or while the sound engineering you just jumped created Nadir, or is just like were you in other bands? Because I know you sessioned for a couple other guys out there too,
Yeah.
but
So,
was there any other band involved?
okay. So basically, throughout my time in KL, I moved to KL in 2007, late 2007.
Okay,
Excuse me. And I, of course, started playing with my friend Ray from Penang. And we started, doing the pub scene, playing pubs and playing shows. And then in between, I would session for other people. I think
okay,
my first ever accidental sessioning work was with Liana Fizi.
okay.
And then from there I started moving on, and I started just playing for whoever needed a drummer. And of course I started different bands along the way. I think my first band that I started was Black Light Bulb.
Okay.
So this band called Black Light Bulb. It started off as a funk R&B neo soul band, and then we played Penang jazz. And then our singer left, and then we did a U-turn and we pivoted into progressive rock slash progressive metal. Yeah,
Okay,
and we just
that's a huge jump, man.
yeah, I know it was crazy, and it's the same band, by the way.
Yeah,
The
that's what
name
I'm
was the
surprised.
same, but our style just completely changed. So we had put out the one single called Purple Pouch, which is that R&B, funk, soul, like nice and like vocals and shit.
This sounds
And
like Prodigy.
yeah, and then we just about turned and started doing prog rock,
Okay,
and
okay,
that band, and that it was a great band. I loved playing in that band. Then we disbanded, and um, eventually I moved on and I started this band. I didn't start this band. I joined this band called Box Vocal.
okay,
This was with a close friend of mine, Rashdan Hari, and this was his sort of singer-songwriter band, lah. Right? He had his
okay.
own solo stuff, but we repackaged everything into this name of Box Vocal, and then we put out an EP, and then the guitarist left, and I was like, okay lah, let's see what we can do. Let's work with what we've got, and then that became Rashdan Harith band, right? And
Oh,
we
okay,
just played his songs, and eventually, after, and all this time, I of course was sessioning with other people. I also joined the band Cats in Love.
okay.
They're yeah,
Yes, I know Harding and all that, right?
60s.
Yeah.
No, this is
No, no,
with
sorry,
Lohan.
Lohan. Okay.
Lohan, yeah, and this was a 60s, 70s funk rock band.
Yeah.
Yeah, and mm, that was great experience for me, and I'm still involved with the band. I'm their mixing and mastering engineer,
Okay.
and whenever their drummer can't play the show, I will step in. I was with them
Okay.
for about 7 years, very long time. And that band was the band that taught me the importance of the metronome.
Oh, really?
As a drummer, if you can't play to a metronome, um, you really need to check those things out lah. You need to get that sorted. And with Cats in Love, every rehearsal was with a metronome.
Okay.
Shows at the start was with the metronome. I would play with the metronome inside, and it was tight, tight, tight. Everything was super tight. And that's ironic considering the fact that back in the day, when you're talking about playing songs by Grand Funk Railroad and a lot of
Yeah.
original songs in the vein of those bands,
Okay.
Tommy Bolin and Ziggy, all that kind of stuff. Back in the day, they weren't playing with metronomes; they were just naturally tight. You know,
Yeah.
like look at Mitch Mitchell's, like all these guys, they're amazing, right? But eventually it got me to a point where I could play anything to a metronome comfortably, right? And then it got to a point where I would play shows where I'll start the song off with the metronome and then I'll just take it from there. You know.
True. You have the
Then
consistent sound going on with the
yeah,
metronome.
yeah, but it's because of Cats in Love. So after I left Cats in Love, then during that time I was sessioning and I was doing a lot of like audio work and stuff. I got tired of playing the same, sessioning and doing all these kind of normal genres and stuff, because of the kind of music that I was listening to at the time. So I listened to all sorts of music, and very guttal. You always want to put in different styles here and there, and I could only do it in my drumming when it came to sessioning or playing in these bands. I could incorporate that, but that wasn't enough for me. I wanted the sound of the band to be like that. I wanted it to be this
Okay.
mishmash.
You just want to break the monotony.
Yeah, and break the rules lah. I got tired of, if it's a pop song, it has to sound like pop. If it's a rock song, it has to sound like rock. And we tried it in Black Light Bulb. That was the inception. We started incorporating a lot of ethnic sort of instrument styles and stuff like that. And then one day the guitarist of the Rashdan Harith project also decided to leave. And I was like, you know what? Screw this. I want to start this new band. And the whole point of the band is to just no rules. Play anything we want to play. If we want to incorporate reggae with bluegrass and metal in one song, let it be. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But we do it well. We do it well. So that time my bassist, of course, was Zaim. We started it with Rashdan. And then we brought in Steph, my keyboardist then. And then from there we brought in Adil, the saxophonist, and Farik, the guitarist. And then at that point I was working in a company called Imaginex.
Okay.
And I had this junior engineer who had just joined the company after finishing his internship. And so it was like it was my responsibility to train him and get him up to the working level, the professional level. And this bucker was getting scolding from me every day, like, hey, you're damn slow, you need to work faster, blah 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 blah, 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 blah. But every time I would walk past the room that he was working in, my room, I'd hear rags coming from the studio.
Okay, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And I just listen lah, I won't kacau, even though I know the bugger's not doing his work, And then eventually, one day after like a certain point, maybe 3 months after, I was like, not bad, are you? Very good, huh? And I was like, you want to join my band, huh? And that was Santosh lah. Santosh was the second last piece. Santosh joined, and then we really took off from there. Our style became very apparent. So we started off without a style, but in that chaos of not having a style, we developed our own style. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah, this cultural fusion thing.
Yeah, because that not only in your music but also in your name, choosing the name Nadir, it has I don't know. There's a long list of meanings towards that sound. Depends on different languages. Exactly. If it's English, it means something different. If it's the Malay, something different. You can just pop in, I think, I don't know, about 4 or 5 languages in between that. So I was a bit like, which is which now for this band? Because on the website, yes, it meant something else. Yeah. But it also has a double meaning with the same spelling on that name. So which one is it for your band?
So it's everything, bro, because we were coming up with the name, and I knew the English translation of the word Nadir, right? I knew what Nadir means in English, and that is the lowest point of an astronomical observer. Blah, blah, blah. Apex is the top, Nadir is the bottom. Philosophically, it means, of course, that it's the lowest point a person can be in. At that point, it felt like we were all in our lowest points musically, because we were in a rut. We were in this creative rut of like being jaded and being bored with playing music. And some of my members were like, I'm not gonna play music anymore. Like, I'm just gonna focus on my career. Blah 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 blah. And then I did more research into the name Nadir and realized, in Malay, Nadir means rare, right?
Yeah.
Guest Nadir. And then in Arabic, I think it means my beloved. So, and it's got a lot of these different meanings, and the name itself, Nadir, just sounds nice, sounds cool. So we're
Actually,
like, yeah,
it's like okay, which is kind of nice. It's like one name that has different how do
mhm,
I put this
connotations,
perceptions, how
meanings,
yeah, connotation,
yeah.
how you want to look at it, it is up to you. If you want to look at a band
and
of this meaning and you go ahead with that, or the other way
yeah.
around.
And that's how our music is also, it can take
Yeah.
on many forms for different people. Like if someone is not exposed to the style of music that we do and they listen to it, they'll go, whoa, what the hell did I just hear, you know
Yeah.
and if
That's
they
exactly how I felt when I first heard the tracks.
yeah,
I'm not kidding you. Okay, now it's my turn to actually express what I feel about Nadia
sure.
right now. I'm not going to hold back. Okay, I'm not going to hold back. So
uh,
all I'm going to say is, where the fuck were you guys all my life, man? Seriously, it's like I have been searching for a band that sounds like this because the last time I've experienced something like this or something close to this was
yeah.
during the Zainal Abidin era.
Mm,
You
yeah,
get what I
yeah,
mean, right? It's like
yeah,
that's where you have the whole session feel. You had the adult contemporary feel, whether it's R and
yeah,
B, a mix of everything. It was a huge gap. I mean,
yeah.
you might have some live bands performing in such a way or whatever like that, but it's not consistent on
Mhm,
that manner.
mhm,
But when it
yeah.
came to Nadir, I told you this off air. I had goosebumps listening to your tracks. I
Thank
watched
you.
your videos for the Borneo Jazz Festival,
Yeah,
and I was
yeah,
like, dude, why are these guys not blasted on every single media platform? They are
yeah,
not on all the main stages in the country for shows, award shows, and so on. Because you have that, how do I put this, unique sound. When you listen to the band of Nadir, you listen to all the tracks that's going on, you have that unique sound, which means I have a variety of genres in one huge pot.
yeah.
And it's not so obvious in the sense that it's not like if it's jazz only.
Mhm,
If it's like pop, you have the pop sound only, or rock is rock. It's created in such a way where it's subtle. You have
yeah,
the feel of all the genres in
yeah,
one track. That's how I like to look at Nadir on
yeah.
that part. It's like I was listening to your songs, like for example, Nafas. Nafas is one of my
Mm,
favorite tracks from that track, and your latest single is
mm.
also a bomb. Okay, that's how I look at this whole track. Then the Ikan Keke, that was it. I was like going one after another. It's like, dude, what's up, man? And then what was sad of all is like in the sense of what else? And I wouldn't want to say sad, like we
Mm.
have many different reasons for it.
Yeah,
YouTube views and Spotify view hits and all. It's like it doesn't justify.
yeah,
It doesn't justify at all. It's like
yeah.
something's wrong with the system. Something is
Yeah.
absolutely wrong with the system. I had crappier stuff that was going on hundreds of thousands or millions of views and all. I was like, what did these guys do wrong? I mean,
I
what?
think
Oh,
I mean, okay, to answer your first point, the reason why we've got that nailed down in terms of the combination of styles is because um like I said earlier, there are no rules. We
mm,
don't I don't want any of my band members, my teammates, my family, I don't want them to have to change who they are to be a part of this family, right?
nice.
You know, we're not just bandmates. We are best friends. We know each other's families. We know each other's
Okay.
children, parents. That kind of stuff. So when you think of it like your own family, right? The moment one of your family members starts being different, you know something's wrong, right?
Uh-huh.
Same thing applies in the music. Like Farik, our guitarist, amazing producer, uh, multi-talented, multi-faceted in terms of genres, but he's a metal guy at heart.
Okay.
So whenever he plays anything in the band, any ideas that he gives in, um, I don't want him to think of those ideas from a jazz point of view or from a fusion point of view or from a pop or a rock or anything point of view. I want him to just write music, what
Okay.
he wants to write, and then bring that in without having to like, oh, okay, maybe because this is a pop band, we tone this down or what. No, no toning down.
Okay.
Anything that you want to do, we will mold around it. So
Infuse
everyone
it.
does the same exact thing. Nobody changes, who they are to try and fit in. Exactly who you are, your style, bring that in. Then from there we start molding around each other. And once you do that long enough, it becomes a habit. It becomes easy, and you know each other's style. We got the chemistry. So the moment Farid starts doing this metal riff, I know what I'm gonna do already to supplement that,
Ah,
to what do you call this, complement that, right?
okay.
And the moment I do that, my bassist, he already has something up his sleeve that is unique to him, but is the Nadir sound. Yeah.
So you
So
have that perfect gelling going on among each other.
yeah. Anything we write, also it's already habit already. We know how to do it straight away. Of course, there are that times where some songs will kick you in the ass, and you're like, "What to do here?" But then everybody else also has ideas. We
Okay.
always help each other out with things like we'll tell Farid, like, chug here, and then from there turn it into something. Then after that, the keyboardist or Zaim will tell me the drums, try this. And then you see it's constantly evolving, it's constantly moving forward, so like you're never in a position where you're playing the same thing over and over again.
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay.
that's
Okay.
my philosophy in life also lah. So the band has adopted that. And then
So it's
to
a
answer your,
collective input in whatever creation or the creativity of the band. Collective input. Should I say that?
yeah, it is, because we all write music together.
Ah, okay. Okay.
And
Okay.
even if, let's say, Nafas, for example, Farid wrote the song and his
Mm-hmm.
wife Ada wrote the lyrics, right?
Okay.
And he had that rough structure of the song. He brought it to the band, and we listened to it, and we're like, okay, I know what I want to add here. I know what we can add here. I know what we can do here. And then we built the song up that way, you know? But
Okay.
sometimes, like a lot of the first album, everything was written just by us jamming along in the studio, coming up with spontaneous ideas on the spot, recording that 1 hour long jam,
Okay.
continuous 1 hour long jam where ideas are going left, right, center, Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, and back. And going back home, listening to it over and over again and listening to parts that sound good. And like, oh,
Okay.
this sounds damn cool. Cut that out. This is an idea. Cut that out. This is an idea. Or put things together and go, oh, damn. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, okay,
Uh,
okay, okay. Kind of like the way you guys work, man.
yeah.
It's not
And
like
then
just like, okay,
we,
I wrote this song, we're going to play only this. It's like
no.
it.
Yeah.
The creative process evolved through this jamming session.
Yeah.
Okay, that explains a lot through your music because, like I said earlier, I was just going. I have this habit. Okay, despite knowing the band, knowing the music, right before I have my conversation on the podcast, I always go back to the music, listen to it fresh. So I just want to have the
Listen.
whole fresh feel. And I was listening to it this morning. It's like, dude, why did I miss all this while, man? I was like, this is supposed to be on loop. It's supposed to be going over and over again on my Spotify playlist. And it was amazing. It's like I would say every single track that I was listening on the playlist was
Mm,
amazing. So, which is something that being from the event industry myself, these are the kind of music that you want to represent Malaysia at international music festivals. I mean, you
yeah.
have done it, of course. You have done
Yeah.
the Borneo Jazz Festival. You have performed in China. You're touring in China,
Yeah.
and you also were in Cambodia for the Water
Yeah.
Festival. About what 10,000 people over there. Okay, so
Yeah.
you've been in those kind of places, and that's where you want to take the entire band to more touring,
Mm-hmm.
more representation of Malaysia. But at the
Mm-hmm.
very same time, you also need help, or rather support from the uh, media per se.
Yeah.
So that's something that is missing currently. That's
Mm.
why do you think that's happening in such a way?
I think, I mean, of course, the obnoxious answer would be to say that, oh, they're not ready for us or whatever. But I think the truth is that the first, that phase one of the band, we were just really focused on the music and
Okay.
becoming the best that we could be and
Mhm.
performing, and it was baby steps lah. We were still growing as a band. We were still,
Okay.
then we had a few mishaps along the way, like our first lead singer Rashdan, he left the band.
Okay.
Then we spent a lot of time in limbo having session singers working with us, and of course we had a great friend of ours, Bichu, who was helping us for a long time
Okay.
as a lead singer. And thankfully for her, we could keep going on because she fit with the songs and she learned everything and she did it extremely well. But she has her own solo career that she's focused on,
Yeah.
so it's not fair of us to ask her to commit to the band. You know what I mean? So of course we had to search for a singer, and eventually I Santosh actually recommended me to talk to this girl called Beverly
Maya
Matuja.
Bayu.
Maya Bayu, yeah. And
Yes.
I found her. I spoke to her. We had a meeting, and she was keen to join the band and try this because at that point she was also going through this thing where she was a bit lost and she was tired of her singer songwriter image and she wanted to explore and she wanted to grow and try different things, which is exactly in line with what we are, right? And she joined, and then I was telling her, like, incorporate more of your heritage into the music, into what you do, and then she kept doing that, and then she became Maya Bayu, and she had her own thing. And so of course there's growing pains involved with the whole process, but
Okay.
our growing pains lasted like 4 or 5 years lah.
That's a long time, man.
I know, but we still kept going, never stopped. And I think we were just very focused on the music and performing rather than the whole social media aspect and the whole marketing and promotion side of it. um and yeah, you can call it a bit old school lah, because we're all old farts also. So, yeah, but I think with this new album, we're doing things a bit differently, not from the music side, but from the marketing and promotional side. So
Okay.
hopefully, yeah, things get much better lah.
The thing is, also I've noticed the tracks that you, like I said earlier, you're taking things to the international level, a different market altogether.
Yeah.
The songs that you have produced, majority of it are in Bahasa Malaysia or in Malay. So are you having plans, or maybe the upcoming album that has English tracks or anything of
Yeah,
that sort?
we actually, our first album has about 3 English songs. One is called "Losing It," another is called "Why Do We Cry," and then there's "Synesthesia," and I think there's one more, I can't remember. But yeah, so the new album is it's equally balanced. There's like Malay songs and English songs, same, like 5 and 5, I think.
Nice. I just
Yeah.
hope you have a nice PR team to work on that. Are you going to
Mm.
focus on that part too?
Yeah, definitely, bro. And
Because that's something I really look forward for. Because, like I said earlier, it is important. No matter how good you are in whatever you do, you still need to sell it out there, and
yeah.
you need that one person to do it. Because I know some guys, really crappy singers, but their PR work, oh my gosh, they're like everywhere on the
Yeah.
planet. And I was like, that's one thing that, because you have something. I wouldn't want to use the word good. You have something phenomenal. Your band, Nadir, your music is phenomenal, and the world needs to listen to it. The entire country needs to listen to it. And I hope you get the right PR guy to just spread the word for you, man.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
You gotta have that, man.
We shall.
It's
We
like for
shall.
yeah, and for those who are listening in right now, especially my buddies from the event scene and shows, festival, concert promoters, if you want something really good on stage, you got to get in touch with these fellas, man. Seriously, I was just mind blown out your jam sessions on YouTube. You can just take a look. I'll try to post that in this particular website. Have a glimpse of what they have. It's just a glimpse. It's not even the full show yet, which is, I don't know, man. I can
Also,
just
I,
go on and
I
on.
forgot to mention earlier that like we started off as a 7 piece, right? And then we added Simi, my other keyboardist from a different band, from Black Light Bulb actually. And then
Okay.
she joined the band, and a lot of people were going like, "What the hell? Why do you have two keyboardists?" you know. But it worked out perfectly. That's also a big reason of why we sound the way we sound, is because we have these two keyboardists who are both amazing and who are both like, they're both interlocking perfectly, and they do these crazy ideas with each other. And they're like the two girls in the band
Yeah.
that like like that. That's the both of them lah.
No, actually, there was something I wanted to ask. Were you having plans of having more members and turning out to be like UB40 or Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Bro, if we have a live show that has the right budget, right, we can go up to 15, 16 people, bro.
Ooh,
Yeah, we
man.
our main collective, our main core members are the 8 of us.
Okay.
And then we have our auxiliary members like Hariram. He's a violinist and amazing gambus player and a classical Indian dancer and singer too. And he joins us. We've got Kiran on sitar. We've got Divesh on Indian percussions. We've got a whole shebang of other people who are auxiliary members, like I call them. You know,
Okay.
the extended family. So if we have a big show that we really want to impress, like we're targeting to play Rainforest next year.
Nice. Oh yes, that would be a
Yeah,
perfect spot, man.
and if we get that, and if the budget permits, we can bring in a whole shebang of, I call it the fusion orchestra, lah, basically. So it's like
Oh,
classical Indian and some modern fusion instruments. You know what I
I'll
mean?
fly down there, man. I'll definitely
Yeah,
fly down. If I see your name in the list, I'm flying down because your music, that environment, that ambience, perfection, man. That's what you need to check out the whole band. I
yeah.
I don't mean to sound like a fanboy or something like that, but
Hey, it's
it
okay, bro.
is.
Fanboy away.
No, because seriously, it's very rare you come across something that blows your mind off. It's like no,
Mhm.
for me, I've been a fan of the local industry for a very very long time since
Yeah.
I don't know 90s or since I was young. There was
Yeah.
ancient time ago when dinosaurs were walking the earth. But I've been a fan of it, and like I said, from time to time, you have one or two bands that just appear and just blows your mind off because it's not about just about sounding good or they're awesome and things like that. It's just that they have something unique to bring on to the table.
Yeah.
It's like you have your commercial stuff, you have your normal radio airplay stuff and so on. But then again, when you listen to the details of the song and you notice there's so many levels or layers incorporated into that one particular song or that one particular band, you'd really know that this band has put in so much of effort to sound the way they are.
Yeah.
That's and you guys are one of it, definitely. And individually as band members, you all have something special for each and every one of you. And please do help me clear this down. Santosh was involved in Mat Kila also, right?
Yeah,
Was
Santosh
this Santosh?
yeah,
Okay,
it's
good.
Santosh was the
This is the
composer.
Santosh, right?
Yeah, and then Nadir Studios, we mastered and distributed the soundtrack.
Okay, that's something I wanted to clear because I read it somewhere and just like, okay, I got to ask this guy about this particular vision just to verify that. Okay, hey, hands off, man, amazing job. One of the biggest
Thanks.
crossing movies in the country, and you guys are behind the soundtrack of that. Good, man. Please share that more. Please share that
Definitely.
more.
Yeah.
Seriously, if you want to hire a PR guy, I think I might apply for the job. But
Can.
no, just kidding, man. I suck at that big time, man. I suck at that big time. But anyway, what's the plans now that you have the brand new single out? It is. It was just released. It is called Selalu, right?
Yeah, Selalu. And we basically we're recording our album right now. It started off as a 13-track album.
Okay.
And then we sort of minimized it to 10 just, to be safe because
Okay.
the other 3 songs were a bit too ambitious. And we realized
bonus track.
But the cool thing about this track is we've got international collaborations. One is with a hip hop group from from Chicago, sorry. They're called the Microphone Misfits, and they've got a full featured rap on one of our songs. That means from start to finish, not in between or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is one. We're collaborating with Cambodia's, who I don't know if she's number one, but she was number one, and she's still number one to me. But number one pop star, Laura Mum, and on one song, and we did have a collaboration with this group in Thailand called Asia 7 on a track. Yeah, but unfortunately, that track we're gonna delay the release a bit because that is gonna involve a lot of back and forth and flying them over for recording and things like that. And prior to this, it was COVID, so of course everything got delayed and things like that. So that song is gonna be delayed. But yeah, we're really looking forward to this next album because we've struck a very nice balance in the songs whereby, previously our songs, if it's 9 minutes, it's 9 minutes. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've got one song called Senja, which is like the epitome of Nadir, right? And that song is like 8-9 minutes long. And now with this album, what we've done is we've tried to keep them between 4 to 6 minutes, a bit more concise. And then if you want to see the rest of the 5 minutes of each song, you can come to our live shows.
Smart move.
Yeah.
I thought you'd do something like, back in the days when CDs were still popular. maybe records were still popular, you had all the track, and then you had that bonus track, which was
Yeah,
the extended version. Have you ever
yeah.
considered that?
We, we
Throwing in.
we actually did that in the first album.
Uh-huh.
The first album was a bit of a concept album, actually. Every song had sort of an intro and an outro, and all of
Okay.
them flowed into each other. And then the outro of the song was this saxophone piece by that Adil did. The Injit Injit Semut.
Yeah.
Yeah, that their classic Malay
Yeah.
rhyme kind of
Okay,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
exactly. So we did that saxophone version lah, and then
Okay.
it was quite apt because we started the album with Ikan Keke and then ended it with Injit Injit Semut. So
Oh.
so for this album, you'll have to wait and see lah if there's going to be a bonus track.
Okay, I'll look forward for that. And whether can we estimate this track to be out, this album to be out?
The album should be out by the end of the year. But
Oh,
we
that's
will
not
be
very far away.
yeah, but we will be releasing two other singles. Next single is an English single. It's called "Lay with Me," and
Okay.
then after that will be the featured single of the album called "Cahaya."
Okay.
So
Okay.
those two are coming out. Then "Cahaya" drops with the album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool, man. Cool. So in this particular album, the band members of this of Nadir, right, everyone is still intact. Everyone's still there.
Yes.
Or is there any
yes.
changes in that? All the same one.
No,
'Cause I
for
know
the album, everyone is still there. Our singer Beverly Maya
she's
Bayu,
migrated, right?
she just migrated to Scotland recently.
Yeah.
So we are in the process of getting a singer, but that will
Okay.
take a bit of time lah. But in the meantime, we're still working on the album. She's still a big part of our family, and we'll move forward like that lah.
Yeah. I honestly, I actually wanted to have a chat with Maya Bayu somewhere around last year. She was supposed to be one of the early guests of the show. She stood me up, man. She said she was
Ayo.
sick and never called me back again. It's like-
I'll have a
I
chat
think
with
I
her.
scared her. I think I scared her. If you look at a face like this, sending you is like, I want to talk to you on my podcast. I think I
No lah,
freaked
bro,
out,
you
man,
look like a cuddly bear. Come on,
yeah. Now only without that beard and long hair, lah. But okay, man.
that's our Indian problems.
Indian look, lah. For me, beard is just to cover the chubby face, lah. That's about it, lah. But anyway,
Same here, bro.
Hey, you look good, man. You look good. But anyway, I'm looking forward for your album that's coming out in December. That is going to be an awesome track. 2 singles right before that. But in the meantime, for those listening to this particular podcast, be sure to check out their latest single called Selalu. It's a beautiful track. And check out all the other tracks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post links on how you can listen to their music, watch the videos. Please check out the one, especially the Borneo Jazz Festival, or anything that returns jam session. You have to watch it, man. You have to watch it. I just like, oh man, why wasn't I there for this one, man? It's like live shows, I think is mind blowing. So all the, like I said earlier, all my buddies, the concert promoters, show guys, or whatever, get in touch with Nadir, man. You got to get in touch with Nadir to have an awesome show on stage. It's going to be fantastic. So do check it out. Ashwin, thank you so much, man. Thank you so
Thanks,
much
Nav.
for taking the time and having a chat with me. I know I've taken so much of your time today. It's a pretty long chat.
all good.
Sure.
Just
You're a
chilling
busy
in the
man.
studio.
Okay, you got a very beautiful studio, man.
Thank you.
I tried to set up my place and I just ended up with one curtain in the back. Like, that's about it. I couldn't do it.
If it works, it works, man.
Yeah, I'm not one of those guys who knows how to decorate stuff, so I suck at it big time. I'll leave that to my wife. Okay. Thank you so much,
All right.
buddy.
Cheers,
And
man.
make sure to share the music. Remember, share the music as much as possible. Subscribe to the channels, and I'll see you in the next episode. All right? Have a great week ahead.
Ciao.